Shoo, come closer. Do you hear that? That soft, wet chewing sound, starting right after midnight, from the patient. In room 312, she hasn't eaten real food in decades, but every night, she's starving. Close your eyes with me now. Let everything else fade away. Feel the cold linoleum under your bare feet as we stand in this endless hallway. The air smells of antiseptic, old skin, and something metallic underneath. Tonight, I'm going to whisper this story very, very slowly so you can feel every moment, every chill, as it creeps in. My name is Lena, and I worked the night shift at Evergreen Nursing Home for 5 quiet years. The building was old, tired, like the people inside it. Walls painted that same institutional green that never quite hides the stains. Clocks that ticked too loudly in the silence. I thought I knew every sound this place could make. Until I met the rule about room 312. Every handover sheet had it in bold. Patient Eleanor Voss. Do not enter after midnight. No feeding, no vitals checks, no light checks, no conversation. Just leave her alone once the clock passes 12. I asked why on my very first night. Maria, the charge nurse who trained me, hesitated a long time. She looked up and down the empty hall before answering. Eleanor gets restless, she finally whispered. Some patients feed on attention. She feeds on something else. I laughed it off that first week. Old building superstitions. I did my rounds like always, 11:30 meds, 11:45 vitals, lights dimmed by 11:55. Room 312 was last on my route. I'd peek through the small window, see Eleanor lying perfectly still, and move on. Then came my 8th night. The clock in the hall clicked over to 12 o'clock exactly. I was charting at the station when I heard it for the first time. Very faint, a very distant, a soft, rhythmic, wet chewing sound. I stopped writing. The chewing continued, slow, deliberate, patient, like someone savoring every tiny bite. It was definitely coming from the direction of room 312. But Eleanor hadn't been given dinner. Her chart said NPO for years. I walked slowly down the hall, the sound growing clearer with every step. By the time I reached her door, it was unmistakable. Soft smacking, gentle sucking, occasional swallow. I pressed my ear to the cool metal door. The chewing was right on the other side. It went on for 12 full minutes. I timed it, then a long, satisfied sigh, almost grateful, the kind you make after a perfect meal. I checked the monitor outside her door. Heart rate, 52 BPM. Oxygen, 98%. Temperature, normal. Everything perfect. Too perfect. The next night, same time. 12 o'clock click. Then chewing begins at 12:02. Louder this time. More confident. I stood listening again. Longer this time. By the end of my 2nd week, it had become part of my routine. I'd finished charting, walk to room 312, and listen. The chewing varied night to night. Some nights fast and eager, others slow and savoring, almost loving. Once, there was a soft crunch, like thin bone snapping. I felt it in my teeth. Another night, long wet slurping, like drinking through a straw. The sounds began to feel intimate. Patients on the floor began changing subtly. Mr. Jenkins in 308 lost weight overnight, said he felt hollow. Mrs. Patel in 315 woke every morning paler, complaining of sweet dreams that left her exhausted. Blood work showed unexplained anemia spreading through the wing. If you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 500 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. Now let's continue. I started staying after shift, researching Eleanor Voss in old records. Admitted 1979 after being found wandering woods, covered in unexplained blood. 7 missing persons cases that same week. Never solved. Her intake notes mentioned claims to have feasted well. Older incident reports from the 1980s, patients dying suddenly, always paler, always after midnight check stopped. Handwritten margin note, She takes what she needs when we're not looking. The handwriting matched Maria's. The chewing grew bolder each week. Started earlier, lasted longer. Sometimes I'd hear soft dragging sounds between bites, like something heavy being repositioned. Once very clearly, a low moan of pleasure. Patients weakened faster. 3 transferred to ICU with mysterious blood loss. No wounds found. Maria stopped meeting my eyes during handover. Her own skin looked thinner, veins darker. One storm night in October, power flickered across the building. The chewing started at 11:57, earlier than ever. Louder, wetter, almost frantic. I grabbed my flashlight and walked to 312. Through the window, Eleanor was sitting upright, eyes wide open in the dark, staring straight at the door, her mouth working rhythmically, steadily, hungrily, red stains fresh at the corners. She knew I was there, her head tilted slightly, listening to my breathing. The chewing slowed, became deliberate, performative, like she was eating for an audience. Then she smiled wide, toothless, welcoming. I backed away slowly, heart pounding against ribs. The chewing continued as I retreated, following me down the hall with sound alone. That night I called in sick for the first time in years. But the sounds followed me home. I wake now at midnight wherever I am, feeling colder, lighter, emptier. Sometimes I catch myself making the sound, soft, wet chewing, practicing. Evergreen officially closed last month. But if you ever take a night job, in any quiet building with long hallways, and hear soft chewing after midnight, don't go looking for the source. Because Eleanor doesn't need teeth to feed. She takes small bites of years, of memories, of life itself. And once she starts with you, she never, ever stops. Now, let the hallway fade, let the chewing quiet, for tonight. But listen carefully, midnight always comes again. Good night. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Drop a comment, like, share, and subscribe. New stories like this every week. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.